There were two worlds, in the same star system, separated by distance, connected by chance. Both had given birth to life. Both had learned to read the sky, and both believed they were alone, until the first signal arrived. At first, it was only noise, a pattern in the background, an anomaly in the data. Then it became a voice. They heard each other long before they saw each other, and when they finally did, there was no doubt. These were not strangers. These were neighbors. The first contact was careful. The second was curious. The third was full of wonder. They sent probes, then ships, then people. They exchanged knowledge, technology, stories. They showed each other their cities, their music, their dreams. And they said that the universe had become smaller. No one asked what else they were exchanging. No one measured what could not be seen, because everything felt right. Trade increased, traffic grew. The space between the worlds filled with movement. And while they were still celebrating that they were not alone, something began. Quietly, unnoticed. At first, there were isolated cases, illnesses without names, symptoms without patterns. Then there were statistics, then trends, then certainty. Children arrived more quietly. The old left earlier. And in between, something began to disappear. Doctors searched for explanations. Biologists searched for causes. Physicists searched for errors. They found none. No bacteria, no viruses, no toxins. Only a slow, silent deviation from life. The cities continued to function. The lights stayed on. The ships kept launching. But something in the world became thinner, as if reality itself was losing density. And while they were still trying to measure the impossible, while they still believed it was temporary, while they were still saying it would pass, someone in the background was counting time, and no one noticed that they had already lost the morning.
We opened every gateway for friends from the distant stars. We shared our time, we shared our light, and never saw the scars. A smile inside a foreign hand, a promise in choose your eyes. We thought we found a better land and crossed too many lines. No alarm, no sign, no sound, just silence moving in. What we gave was made of light. What we took was out of sight. A quiet breath of foreign dust turns our golden cities into rust. We called it progress, we called it brave, but the guest was cold and never gave. Children come in quiet now, the old ones leave too soon. We lost the morning somehow and blame the afternoon. The streets are filled with chooser air, the houses breathing gray. We start to see, we start to fear, but understanding's late. No face, no name, no enemy, just something standing. What we gave was made of light. What we took was out of sight. A quiet breath of foreign dust turns our golden cities into rust. We called it progress, we called it brave, but the guest was calm and never gave. The handshake was a gentle knife, so soft we didn't feel the cut. a silent error in our life that slowly tears the system up. What we gave was made of light, what we took was out of sight. No scream, no fire, no open war, just this dust we can't ignore. And while we're saying welcome home, someone is counting what we owe.
At first, they refused to believe it. Too much data, too little explanation. Correlation is not proof, they said. Chance is not a pattern. And panic is not an argument. But the numbers remained. The curves declined. The gaps between births widened. The holes in generations became visible. And every time they overlaid the timelines, every time they traced the origin, every line led back to the same point. To first contact. To the day they had reached out their hands. It was not a discovery. It was an accusation. Because if this was true, then the encounter had not been a miracle, but a mistake. They isolated variables. They built models. They ran simulations. Every model said the same thing. Not tomorrow, not next year, not even in a century, but inevitably. They would disappear. Not by war, not by famine, not by catastrophe, but quietly. Like a candle running out of oxygen. They searched for cures, for filters, for barriers. There was nothing to isolate, nothing to burn, nothing to fight. It was not an enemy. It was a consequence. And eventually someone said what everyone was thinking. If contact was the beginning, then contact had to end. But ending was not enough. What had happened could not be undone. Time did not go backwards. History had no reverse. Until they built one, not as a dream, not as a vision, but as a last attempt. They did not call it time travel, they called it correction, an intervention in a sequence that had started wrong. When the first signal appeared in the past, no one in the room celebrated. There was no applause, no smiles, only silence. Because everyone knew this was not rescue, this was a sentence. They calculated, they simulated, they tested every alternative. Every alternative ended the same way. As long as the other world existed, they would die. There was no way around that truth, only through it. And so they made the decision no one wants to make, but everyone understands when everything is at stake. They would go back, and they would erase what they should never have met. Not out of hatred, not out of revenge, but out of necessity. They called it prevention. They called it protection. They called it survival. But in the records, there was another word, extermination. And when the ship launched, no one said goodbye, because everyone knew there would be no return.
We traveled backward through the dark, with fire, rage, and final will, to change the place, to break the mark, but found the enemy was still. We followed shadows through the years, through time and blame and broken ground. We called revenge a cure for fear, and hope the last thing we had found. No maybe left, no second guess, just one step back in time. We looked into the mirror of time, saw our own design. The hand that holds the hidden blade is the one that cuts our line. We tried to save what had to fall, and erased ourselves in all. We saw the cities never built. We heard the names no one recalls. We searched for guilt and foreign guilt, and found it written in our walls. We tried to judge, we tried to fix, we tried to play the final card. We wanted clean, we wanted quick, and made it darker, made it hard. No enemy, no choose your land, just us and our own hand. We looked into the mirror of time and saw our own design. The hand that holds the hidden blade is the one that cuts our line. We tried to save what had to fall, and erased ourselves in all. Was the place where we began. Without that road we never were. A book no one can understand. We looked into the mirror of time and saw our own design. No fight, no scream, no last demand, just our name in someone's hand. The root is gone, the tree falls slow, and no one knows it ever grew.
The impact changed nothing. No explosion, no light, no sound, only silence. When the ship returned, the sky was empty. No signals, no cities, no answers. The planet that had given them life was dead, not destroyed, not burned, simply not there. They searched for data, for remnants, for traces. They found nothing, no history, no past, no cause. They followed the timeline back, layer by layer, event by event, until they found the truth. Their life had never been independent. It had begun with a probe, a single mission, a foreign signal, from the very world they had erased. By destroying the beginning, they had destroyed themselves, not as punishment, not as irony, but as consequence. Yet not all of them were gone. Some had been in transit, beyond normal time, outside causality. They survived because time could not reach them. Refugees without origin, memories without history, existence without cause. They gathered, in places that no longer existed, through channels no one used, by signs no one remembered. And they understood that they themselves were an error, a remainder, a residue, proof of something that should not have been. They realized what had happened, that their own species had struck first, and in doing so, had erased everything. So they built a second ship, not to save, not to correct, but to prevent. They traveled further back, before the decision, before the attack, before the first mistake, to kill themselves before they could kill. When they returned, the future was empty, and there, in the nothingness, the other ship was waiting. 2 timelines, 2 culprits, 2 last witnesses of an existence that had condemned itself. They saw each other, and understood. No communication, no orders, no words, only recognition, and then erasure, mutual, simultaneous, final, not as battle, but as agreement. And in the moment both ships vanished, the universe breathed again. Life began on both worlds, quietly, normally, without memory. 2 civilizations emerged, separate, unaware, untouched. They would never meet. They would never harm each other. They would never know what they had meant to one another. Nothing had happened. And that saved everything.
Two shadows from a broken world, where no more suns can rise. 2 paths that fold into one place, 2 mirrored alibis. We carry ashes in our hands, and names without a land. No future left, no yesterday, just this last stand. No back, no forward, no escape, just now and what it costs. When we burn, the time will heal. When we fade, the path is real. No last call, no final word. We erase ourselves unheard. When we fall, the world can't stand. When we're gone, what's left is planned. Two eyes that cannot look away, 2 truths that intertwine. We know each scar, each broken step. We cross the final line. No judge remains, no court, no law, just what was wrong and breaks. We are the error and the plan, the choice the system makes. No winner here, no enemy, just silence in between. When we burn, the time will heal. When we fade, the path is real. No last call, no final word. We erase ourselves unheard. When we fall, the world can't stand. When we're gone, what's left is planned. No name, no face, just space and light. When we burn, the time will heal. When we fade, the path is real. No fight, no scream, no final stand, just peace inside.